In this short video, we'll examine the roots of the legislature, specifically focusing on who is eligible to run for a seat in the legislature, followed by a review of who represents us in Congress currently. To begin with, remember that the House of Representatives is based on population. So as population of a state increases, so does the number of representatives it will receive. And vice versa, as the population of a state decreases, so does the state's representation in the House. There are two senators per state, and it's not based on population, remember, so every state gets two senators regardless of population. If you want to run for the House, you need to be at least 25 years old, be a U.S. citizen at least 7 years. You get 2-year terms, and your constituency is local. Whereas if you're running for a state Senate seat, you must be 30 years old. Citizenship at least 9 years, length of term is 6, and then your constituency is both local and statewide. So who represents us in Congress? The following slides have data about the makeup of the 116th Congress that was just seated in the fall of 2018. Remember, a new Congress is seated every 2 years, and the number 116 represents how many Congresses we have seated since the beginning of the United States. This first slide is dealing with age, broken down by generation. Starting with the slide on the left, you can see the difference of the makeup from the 115th Congress to the 116th Congress. The biggest gains were made by millennials and Gen X in the last midterm election. Considering the slide on the right, you can see the average age of the representative stayed about the same at around 57 years old. Also notice the senator's average age is a bit older. The slide on the left represents the makeup based on gender. You can see women increased their representation in the House from 92 members to 106 in the last midterm. While I don't have the visual, there are currently 25 women out of the 100 senators serving in the Senate. The slide on the right here communicates there are 2 more members since the last election in the House identifying with the LGBTQ community. The slide on the left is the racial breakdown of representation in the Senate and the House. And the slide on the right shows the increases and decreases of representation based on race for the 116th Congress. Next, this table I'm not going to go through in detail, but it gives you an idea of where are the background, occupational background of the members of Congress. So you can see on this first slide, we have a couple psychologists, I'm just randomly reading off here, a couple former state governors. You go to the next slide over and you can, investigate this by looking at the slides. Kind of interesting. There are 6 people that kind of worked in restaurants, it looks like. You can kind of look through here and you may be thinking about going in one of these professions. It just shows a wide variety of experiences that of the people that we do elect to Congress. This table informs us of the religions of those in Congress. Self-report to follow. As the title indicates, Christians are overrepresented in Congress in comparison to their makeup of the U.S. population. You can see, so does those of the Jewish faith. You see that we have 2 Buddhists, 3 Muslim, 3 Hindu, 2 people that identify with Unitary Universalist, and 1 unaffiliated, and then 18 members of Congress but don't know or they refuse to answer. Finally, here's the members' education. So 17 members of the House have no educational degree beyond a high school diploma. 6 only have an associate's degree. 99 members of the House and 18 senators hold master's degrees. 161 members of the House, that's 36%, and about 53% hold law degrees in the Senate. 21 representatives and 4 senators have doctoral degrees. 21 members of the House and 4 senators have medical degrees. The most common professions, as we outlined previously, were law, business, professional, and education in that table previously. So looking at this data, those who serve in Congress are typically better educated, richer. We didn't go through income, but they are, on average, fairly richer, more male and more white than the general population. So kind of a self-reflection, does it matter if the backgrounds of members of Congress reflect the population as a whole? Can members still represent their constituents effectively if they do not come from similar backgrounds? Or maybe even look like their constituents? So there's no right or wrong answer here, but this leads us to kind of a discussion of 2 different representation models that political scientists have identified. And for some of you, you may think that the sociological representation model is the way to go, whereas others may be drawn more to the agency representation. So sociological representation based on a previous question, if you said, yes, it does matter, then you would probably kind of lean towards this. This is based on the principle that the representation should have, a representative should have the same characteristics as their constituents because they'll be able to better represent their views. Whereas the agency representation is based on the principle that it doesn't matter what the background or characteristics of the representatives are, they're not, if they're not properly speaking on the behalf of their constituents, then the constituents can get rid of them in the next election. So anyway, a little bit about these different representation models.